Okay, welcome back. So we're talking about Ig6 today. Try and find the starting point. Here we are, $65 million, and they got about $8 million cash as per the last quarterly. Who are they? They're a graphite company. They have a resource, so they have the graphite in the ground around here. They're going to dig it out of the ground, truck it to here, and process it to get more value. So you get it out of the ground, and then you ship it here, 2 tons, and then you grind up, and from the 2 tons you get out of the ground, you get 1 ton of the spherical graphite, and then if you spend more money coating it, you get spherical graphite, which goes into the anode. So having it in the ground saves you a lot of money. So if these guys got it out of the ground for 500, they could sell it to China for 1,000 and make $500. But if they kept that themselves and processed themselves, they could use that to make more money. Hopefully you get the picture. Did some rough figures here. So 1 ton out of the ground costs you 500. Dig it up and process it. There is some processing there. Getting it. You get the point. It's not just hard 100% graphite out of the ground. It gets like 95% graphite. So $500, sell it for 1,000. But if they kept themselves, they need 2 tons to make 1 ton of spherical graphite, and then they need to process it. That's all about $1,500. But then they'll sell it for 3,000. So for each ton of the spherical, they're making like 1,500. And maybe they coat it. I'm not sure how much coating costs. Just say another 1,000. Then they sell for 8,000. So they can make money all along the way. And why not do it all yourself and make money at every corner? So I just did rough figures on if they just sold to China, getting out of the ground, sold to China, which was low capex, maybe capex 150. They're near like the city. They're near workers and stuff, so probably low capex like Renascore. So they do 100,000 tons, make $500 profit, and do $50 million EBITDA. But say graphite goes in short demand, like lithium, that figure now becomes 100 million a year. So no.
Didn't get that. Could you try again?
Sure, Suri. 100 million a year. So that's what happens when the graphite price, if there's a shortfall in graphite, the price goes up. That's why these companies go up, because people redo the sums, and yeah, makes money. So this is if they did spherical graphite. This is rough figures because I saw Renascore was doing 28,000 tons. So I thought, oh, maybe they won't do as much as Renascore. So I put 4, but say they do it for 4,000. I did 5,000. We'll say it was 3,000. Who knows? And over time, they will get better at the process, so they will get down on cost. So that's 150 million a year doing it all themselves. So it seems like they made more money when the price went up. But this will also go up when the price of graphite goes up. Because instead of 8,000, this might be 12,000. Who knows? And you really wanted to see how much graphite goes in a car, which I should have done, divided by ton. So you see like how much could people afford to pay to get the graphite for the car without it being ridiculous. Like the lithium for your car seems ridiculous now at the $70,000 per ton for the lithium that goes in your car. Probably very confusing you right now. So anyway, say the best scenario would be graphite goes to $1,500, so that makes 150 million just getting out of the ground, selling it to China. You bought this company for 60 million, had to spend another 100 million, which you probably got from the government, and now they're just getting out of the ground, selling to China, just like the lithium players. And this company now is not 65 million, it's gone to 400 million. So you got a fair few X's, which is why I like to buy these smaller companies, because that's where the X's are. Renascore, it's a good company, and it will probably go to 2 billion, if not more. You have to do the numbers, I don't know. But I like to buy the smaller players that can grow into the big players like International Graphite. Like GL1 has Pilbara Minerals as their big brother, and you could see like, oh, they could catch up to Big Brother, and they are slowly. What I was going to say, Ig6 has big brother of Renascore, and they could catch them. See, the most money was made when you bought Renascore here at 1 cent or 4 cents. And right now, it will probably grow. I don't know the figures. People come at me when I say Renascore is not going to grow. I don't know the figures, so I'm not going to even say anything. Let's go back to International Graphite. So they've drilled like 10% of this. So when they drill more, they're going to get more tonnage. And they're getting tons out of the ground per year. Like they're getting 100,000 tons per year of contained graphite. So they only need 1 million tons to last them 10 years of life. Anyway, you get the point. So Renascore does have like years and years of mine life. These guys can catch up. So they're doing the downstream already themselves. I'm not sure if Renascore is. This is not my favorite slide. I might shut this down. We'll start again on this one. So get out of the ground here. Truck it here. They're going to be using renewables best they can. So they've got a high grade component of 2 million tons. And I've done the maths of what that makes out to be. Anyway, they got tons in the ground. This is untested areas. So this is bits they have not drilled. These are bits they drilled and got the whatever tons. So it looks like they've got 80% more to drill and increase the resource by quite a bit. Let's see. Keep going down. So we've got the pilot plant where they're making into spherical graphite as we speak. So perhaps ahead of some competition and haven't started as yet. I mean, the graphite boom hasn't started as yet, in my opinion. But it will start once they roll out more EVs. And they're not mucking around getting this done. They're trying to get done really fast. Feasibility next year. Final investment decision next year. Product from pilot plant this year. I think they're a bit behind in that. Couldn't be sure. Anyway, they're getting it done pretty fast. So once these like you see now, these announcements probably will come out in the future. Sells 10,000 tons to this company, and that's when the price goes up. But you can see in the crystal ball here that might happen before they announce it, and that's where you make the money. You just know what's going to happen before they announce it. They announce it, and you make the money. Also, what happens is you know what was going to happen, and then some other big company buys into them. Like GL1, for example, you knew they were going to keep drilling, getting it done, and then other players saw that and buy in, and that's where you make the money. So you're going to need heaps of graphite, heaps of EVs, heaps of graphite in the EVs. You can go back and forth about will the batteries that contain graphite be the best, and I think they will be. The time solid state gets around, the graphite batteries, the batteries that contain graphite will be really advanced, probably making it no point in bringing out solid state, whatever. I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. CATL is making really good batteries now that you don't need any better batteries using graphite. Also, another thing, natural graphite will go in more demand, as I believe synthetic graphite's made from byproducts of petrol. So as we go later into more towards EVs, we're going to have less petrol demand, meaning less byproducts of petrol, meaning harder to make synthetic, maybe more costly. That's just a thought of mine. So we'll go more towards natural. Also synthetic, but probably natural, takes a lot of energy to make. Not really sure on that. Probably is. Don't know. So the smallest company here, not sure what EV1 has. Oh, let's see. Tanzania. So let me see. Magnus. So all the companies have big resources, but not in Australia. Renascore. Talga is probably a really good company, but they've grown. But they will probably even grow more once the boom starts happening. But they got a really high grade resource. They've got all the downstream coding already happening. They're in a place with hydroelectricity, and they're just going to ship it not they're going to train it or whatever not very far to all the car makers there. So Talga's a really good one, but a bit too late to jump on that boat, in my opinion, if you want to make a fair amount of X's. So International Graphite can be one, and then good players here, Mason Graphite, a lot of tons, really high grade. So that's the average grade, I think. They got 25% grade for the first whatever years. See Talga, 25% grade. Talga is extremely good. Mason Graphite you can buy for 40 million Canadian on the TSX, and I've actually bought this neighboring company for only $4 million next to these guys. So the difference in the company I bought, Green Battery Mills Inc., which is TSXVGEM, is that Mason Graphite has done more drilling. Mason Graphite. So you see what happened here, they embraced the money and they went right up. Sorry, this was the peak here. So you can see what happens when these looks like graphite's going to come. People re-rate these companies, they go up. It's low right now, so where did you buy in the low? Like, no one's loving graphite when it's just drizzling down now. And you can hold your nerve, seeing it's going to be in the battery space. You could buy in now. You could have sold out there, or you could have kept holding if it wasn't 1 year. That's another thing, I always hold the stocks for at least 1 year to get the 50% capital gains tax, because if you do the maths on selling it before that, it always just makes sense just to hold it. Anyway, so it's a bit of a lull, so that's why I think it's the best time to buy a graphite stock. And this is only 38 million with a massively high resource. Drilled it out. Seems to me they have a high capex in Australia. TSX/VGEM. So this company neighbours with them. Only $4 million. They got $2 million in cash. Nothing can happen. People think graphite's going to go off. Hype gets behind it. You just did a 4xN. This company is so small that once a little hype sets in, it's just going to bang. And that's why I've just bought a bit in. Also, they could probably get into production, because they're actually drilling. They're actually drilling right now, finding where the graphite is. And it's a bit murky if they'll make it or not. But they're so cheap, that's why it just makes a bit of sense to me. Like, just think, from $4 million just to get to it, International Graphite is with 65 million. That's a lot of X's. Although downsides, they have to raise money. If they have to raise 2 million, they're selling a lot of the company, etc., etc. Okay, so back to Ig6. Well, I've already done some videos. You can see this guy talk about it in this video here. He's one of the directors. So we'll keep going down here. Also, Ig6 have partners in Germany, or they speak with people in Germany. Yeah, so not much else to say. So this company gets it out of the ground, processes themselves, and then you'll be driving around within your car, and you won't think how it got there. But if it wasn't there, you wouldn't be driving around your car. So we do need that graphite, and it might not happen. It could happen sooner or could happen later, but there might be a graphite shortfall, sending the price up. And if you didn't buy in before the shortfall, you probably missed out on a bit of money. It's my opinion. And you also probably want to buy 12 months before any boom happens, so you can sell out in a boom and get the capital gains tax. So just a bit of mucking around for myself. Say I made $100,000 profit, and I sell, say 40,000 goes to tax, and yes, but if you made 100,000, hold it for a year, profit 60,000. These are just rough figures. It depends on your tax bracket, and it wouldn't be 40,000. But if you worked as well, made 50,000, it probably would be 40,000 profit, 60,000. So 100,000 profit, but you held for the 12 months $50,000. only goes to tax, so you get taxed 40% of 50,000. Say you get taxed 20 grand, so your profit was more like 80,000. So you get $20,000 for holding for 1 year, which is a big sum of money, a big percentage. You get the idea. If you held for 1 year, a lot better than if you sold. So that's it for this video. You can probably find this slide and compare the companies. And then you've got this one here, FinFeed. I just type in Lack Ready Nord and this comes up in Google. And gives you all the other players here. The ones I like, we'll go through this. Trident's alright, they're on the Asx. They had this big one, but they lost it. BEM, they're not on here. These guys seem pretty decent in Africa. Africa seems to have low capex. They're quite cheap. They got a bit of cash. And like every other player, they do a small stage, getting out of the ground, spend 40 million to get so many tons at a higher OPEX, but then they spend more money when more graphite's needed. So these guys are pretty decent. They haven't announced much downstream, but obviously they will in the future. Not in Australia. So think of what you will of that. Back to here. And so Mason Graphite's probably my favorite on this. If they were on the Asx, it'd be a $100 million company. Same as their neighbor. If their neighbor was on the Asx, it'd be double or triple the price. The neighbor is Green Battery Mills Inc. Talga's good, but grown quite a bit for my liking. Renascore is good as well, but they've also grown. Will probably grow more. Magnus, I'm not a fan of Magnus because I rang up asking questions and they didn't answer them. Yeah, and then my next favorite, probably not on this, is BEM. Oh, also VRC. So these guys own shares in them. They actually have a working mine in Ukraine. So they'll probably make $5 million a year for that. And they got a big one in Africa that might get done. So they're quite expensive, but still could go well. Actually got a working graphite mine at the moment, so they're making money on graphite as we speak. The price tag seems a bit hefty for where they are at, but I guess that's what you get. Big project in Africa, which I'll make a lot of money for if you look at the figures. So they're another favorite of mine. So my favorites: Mason Graphite, Vault Resources. So I got this one, and then BEM. Anyway, that's enough for me. Tell me your favorite graphite stocks and why. I don't want to see comments saying this or that. If you make a comment, negative comment or something like that, give me some actual facts. Give me real facts. Like, don't say, oh, they're not going to grow, or yes, they are going to grow. Say, give me reasons why. People make these comments and they've got no factual backing. So tell me why. If you say, oh, you're wrong, say this and this and this. And don't be scared to press enter on that comment. Just do it. Okay, that's it for me. See you in the next video.